Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Shadowline News, where we bring you in-depth analysis of the stories that matter. Tonight, we focus on a case that has sparked international concern and diplomatic urgency. The story of Margaret Nduta Macharia, a 37-year-old Kenyan woman who faces execution in Vietnam for drug trafficking. Margaret Nduta Macharia was arrested in July 2023 at Ho Chi Minh City's Tan Son Nhat International Airport. Vietnamese authorities discovered more than 2 kilograms of cocaine hidden in a false compartment at the bottom of her suitcase. At the time of her arrest, Nduta was in transit to Laos. What makes this case particularly troubling is that Nduta had successfully passed through security checks at multiple international airports before her arrest in Vietnam. She had cleared checkpoints at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Kenya, Bole International Airport in Ethiopia, and Hamad International Airport in Qatar. During her trial, Nduta maintained that she was unaware of the drugs in her suitcase. According to her testimony, she was hired by a Kenyan man identified only as John to transport the suitcase to a woman in Laos. For this service, she reportedly received $1,300, approximately 167,000 Kenyan shillings, and had all her travel expenses covered. Despite her claims of innocence, on March 6, 2025, the Ho Chi Minh City People's Court found Nduta guilty of drug trafficking and sentenced her to death. Her execution was initially scheduled for March 17, 2025, just 11 days after her sentencing. Vietnam enforces some of the world's harshest drug laws. Under Vietnamese law, anyone found with more than 600 grams of heroin or cocaine faces a mandatory death sentence. With over 2 kilograms of cocaine discovered in her possession, Nduta's case fell well within the parameters for capital punishment. In 2011, Vietnam replaced firing squads with lethal injection as the official method of execution. Once a death sentence is handed down and appeals are exhausted, executions are typically carried out swiftly, leaving little time for international diplomatic interventions. Since learning of Nduta's sentence, the Kenyan government has engaged in intensive diplomatic efforts to save her life. Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Korir Singwei confirmed that Kenya had engaged Vietnam on the case, seeking a stay of execution to allow for further negotiations. As of March 19, 2025, Nduta's execution appears to have been temporarily stayed, though her ultimate fate remains uncertain. The Kenyan government continues its diplomatic efforts to negotiate clemency or repatriation, while her family maintains hope for a positive outcome. Following reports that the execution had not proceeded as scheduled on March 17th, her mother expressed gratitude, saying, "Thank you so much, Mr. President, because my child was not killed." This case highlights several critical issues: the stark disparity between drug laws in different countries and the severe consequences that can result from crossing international borders with narcotics. The vulnerability of individuals who may be unknowingly or unwittingly recruited into drug trafficking networks. The limited protections available to citizens who run afoul of foreign legal systems, particularly in countries with strict drug laws. The challenges faced by diplomats attempting to intervene in cases where another nation's sovereignty and legal system are at stake. Nduta's case is not isolated. Even as Kenya grapples with her situation in Vietnam, another Kenyan woman, aged 55, was recently sentenced to 50 years in prison by a Busia law court for trafficking 3.9 kilograms of heroin with a street value of 11.8 million Kenyan shillings. These cases reflect the broader challenge of drug trafficking affecting Kenya both domestically and internationally. As diplomatic efforts continue, Margaret Nduta Macharia's life hangs in the balance. Her case serves as a sobering reminder of the severe consequences of international drug trafficking and the complex interplay between national sovereignty, international relations, and human rights. For Shadowline News, I'm your dedicated AI presenter. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, there's always more to the story.